Hello. I don't know who's out there, but it's okay. Happy Friday, TGIF. This is one of my favorite days of the week. I have my cocktail because it's cocktails and conversation time. So cheers. Probably shouldn't drink that, but probably later. But how are you? Okay, I see one person's out there, so that's okay. We can have a conversation. Doesn't have to be a lot of people, but if there are, they want to join us, that's fine. So welcome. And I'm just going to type in here in this chat. So feel free to use this chat anytime. I should have put class, but it's okay. So welcome. How are you guys doing? I don't know what you're doing out there, but I look a little different today. I got my nails back on. Yes. I got my hair done. Yes. I actually put on a real face today. I'm feeling back to myself, which is a great, great choice, right? We were talking about choices today. Who's ever out there, I hope that you watched the episode today. If you did, just give me a thumbs up or something and let me know that you did. So that way, at least we can have a conversation about that first, because that's what I really want to talk about, just so that way we can get that old lecture out of the way, because we like to recap before we can go forward. So as we start today's lecture, we're just going to do a small synopsis recap of what happened on tonight's episode of A Degree of Dopeness. And if you saw it, I guess you didn't see it. It's okay. It's really good. And I know I said that about the last one, but today I want to tell you, I was really proud of this one. I took some real creative control that I didn't even know I could do. This team that I work with is so amazing. They teach me every step of the way, and I realize that I'm still teaching them as well. And I take such pride in it, and it's like this joint venture. So excited about that. But so tonight's episode, I kind of just took this grasp on it, and I just said, you know what, today I want to take control of this project and see it the way I wanted to see it a little bit. So we worked very strategically today. And so it was about choices. So I made some choices today in that episode that I hope you liked. We hit a little bit more humor. We hit a little bit more sisterhood. There was a lot more laughs. I mean, I had to rewatch it again to remember what we talked about. We even talked about interracial dating, which, shout out Channing Tatum, that's the name, and Ryan Gosling. If you watch the episode, you'll know why. But anyways, so that episode was about choices, and we were talking about the choices that people decide to make. So today I made a couple choices myself. I don't know if you did, but I sure did. And one of them was to go out in the world today and get my nails done. I know, right? People are like, why did she do that? Why not? If you made a choice to stay home, which that is your choice, and I totally respect that, and I made the choice to go out after the city said I could, then I think you should be okay with that as well, And of course I did it responsibly. I wore a mask and everything, and my technician was wonderful. There was, everything was great. So I just want to say that do not dictate your choices on someone else, because they're your choices. And here's where a lot of people get the conversation, mixed up, where they think that because I feel a certain way about something, you should also feel a certain way about something. And if you don't, my job now is to convince you that the way that I think is the way you should be thinking about said choice or whatever option. And when you think of it that way, you really got to ask yourself the question why is it so important to you that you systemize, right? That has to be a word. So systemize my brain to believe how you believe when I'm uniquely me and you're uniquely you. So a lot of times when people understand that practice, it makes them kind of understand other people's choices a little bit better. And I don't know if you feel any kind of way out there, viewer. I don't know. That may be some YouTube thing where they just give you one viewer to make you feel good about yourself, which would make so much sense, because I feel so much more confident even just speaking still with one person out there, because I don't like to talk to myself, but I can have a conversation with one person or 1 million. It doesn't matter to me. So either way, you got to get the lecture, right? So let's go. so these choices that people, are so insistent upon giving you based on how they feel about something should make you wonder, what kind of world is it where we're not okay until you think like me, till you dress like me, till you look like me, And that is a very scary, scary factor that we maneuver in this world. And unfortunately we do. And I'm just here to tell you that, that becomes a very tiresome race. Uh, to my one person, to you, whoever is watching this, that becomes a very tiresome race. Because at the end of the day, there is nothing you can do to catch up to be that person, because that person has been that person their entire life. And you have been you your entire life. So guess what? You might want to catch up to learning yourself before you can even think about trying to become somebody else, because that's an impossible race. And why would you want it anyways? It's their journey. My sister was talking to me today. By the way, she was on tonight's episode. Shout out to Danica. She was super cute, right? Lady of the night. What says that? But anyways, this is the same lady that requests Laffy Taffy in a club in New York. Don't ask New York. I stopped it. I and the DJ stopped it basically. But anyways, long story short. But yeah, so she was on tonight's episode and we were talking about all kinds of stuff. And it was just this fun energy and it was this unique perception. And I was really proud of this project, you guys. So I hope you like it. And I know we were talking about something else, but I do that a lot. I will leave the story but come back. But trust me, I will be back to the full circle. It always happens that way. But anyways, when we have these choices in life, I was writing some stuff down because I know one of them was my sister who was saying about being a cheetah girl or cheetah-licious or whatever you want to call it, right? So, and she said, I wasn't confident in the past to wear that. And I said, I never knew that. And I had to rewatch it again to learn that. Like, how are you not confident enough to wear a particular print of clothing, And it dawned on me that it wasn't anything about the color or the print or anything like that. It had something deeper to do with just standing, like being confident now, like she said, like it's a new powerful color. So she's owning that color. Like there's a lot of things about myself, and I'm sure you too, viewer, that, you have to learn to own about yourself. I'm not, the prettiest person, but I think I'm pretty cute, and I gotta own that. And but I don't think that is where beauty lies at all. So I say that to my ladies out there who are making these extreme choices, especially like just life choices, and future choices. That is the most important one, future choices. So if you are out there and you're making these choices, ladies, I need you to think about it. Are you doing this because you need it? Or are you doing it because someone else needs it? And I know we hear that a lot, but a lot of times we don't know the difference. We're like, my boyfriend said I would look better if I had this certain feature. Okay, well, that's what your boyfriend thinks. This boyfriend. What about the next boyfriend? He may not think so much about that particular clothing or that particular item or body part or whatever. So are you going to keep molding yourself around other people, like other boyfriend tastes or other friend styles or other people's preferences or other people's perceptions? Because let me tell you something, when we get to the lecture side of these things, the definition of perception, is, basically the interpretation of information and references and sources and psychological thoughts and whatever based on the world around you. So that means you have to decide what the perception of life is that you're going to have. So you have to decide what you need to do for you. And that starts with being you. Like, I know that I say all these things and it sounds like a whole bunch of jumbled up statements, but the reality is that you're never going to get anywhere in this world, again, being someone else's duplicate, because even Drake said it, if you had a twin, I'd still choose you. That makes so much sense, because even if you could duplicate that same person into someone else physically, That's not the part that's the buy-in. The buy-in part is the emotional part, the physical, the mental part of it, and that's where people need to understand their identity comes from. So, and whatever that identity is and whatever perception that is, like I'm Texas, I like a little glam, I like a little nail, I like that's me. That's my perception. That's what I grew up around. That's how I like things. And trust me, I've gone places, and I've lived all over this country. And people have said to me, like, why is your hair so fluffy? Because I'm from Texas and we like a little bit of bounce. I mean, what do you mean? Like, come on. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's so much out there. I wish you guys were participating with me in this chat right now so that we could really get, some lecture and some dialogue going. But it's okay. Again, I can teach with just one person, even if they're shy. I had a student once that told me she had volunteer mutism. Yeah, volunteer mutism. And I said, so what are you telling me? So what does this really mean? And she said, basically, I can decide when I want to talk to you. And I said, okay. I know some of you are probably questioning it. And of course, I did for a minute. And then I realized, it doesn't matter. You don't have to speak in order for me to teach. So there you go. Here we go. So how to live with regrets. A lot of people make choices out there, and I'm talking about life debilitating choices. And if you have seen that show, not even the show, the movie Amazing Grace, where, the Tyler Perry movie, God, Jesus, right? Loved it. And I didn't think I would, because I was like, oh, no. Okay. But anyways, I loved it because it was about life choices. Life choices, people, life choices. That's what that movie was about. It wasn't about a mean guy that took advantage of this elderly woman. No, it was about life choices. Do you understand? Because when your gut tells you something ain't right, I'm sorry, something ain't right. Okay. When there were so many things that were keeping her from understanding her choices. And the reason why I love this part about Tyler Perry, because when he wrote this part in the movie, I'm giving a little, I do watch some movies now. So the one part where he had her in jail and she was willing to give up. And you want to know why? Because she was about to eat that life choice. She was about to eat that life choice because she realized that at some point in the game, there were options for her. And people, I'm telling you the same exact thing. There are options for you out there. So you need to make sure that when you have these choices in front of you, you are picking the right ones. And we are built with this godly instinct and intuition that we don't tap into, even though we totally should. And you know when you know it. So when we're talking about these choices that people have and they're not making them, you really want to be able to say, hey, nothing clicked. I'm trying to figure out when you didn't click out, when he came up to you in the middle of the art gallery, really didn't know much about art, but he knew a little something about art, just enough for that exhibit. You know what I'm saying? Like there was nothing more explored in that. And then, but I understood the romance. I totally understood the romance of it. And when he wrote it in the whimsical way with the fireflies and all that stuff, because that will cloud your decisions and make you make foolish choices. Don't be dazzled with the foolery. What is it? The breakup tricks me with foolery and that kind of stuff. No, don't be fooled with that. You have to learn how to think for yourself. And if not, guess what? You too may have to lie in your choices. But I will tell you what's so amazing about Amazing Grace is that Amazing Grace had Amazing Grace, and God sent her the lawyer. I saw this, Tyler. I saw you. I saw it's deeper than that. God sent her this lawyer that was her angel, that was willing to fight for her because she knew her innocence, because God placed that on the lawyer's heart. It wasn't anything about Grace. Grace had gave up. She said, you know what, I made so many bad choices in life. You know what, this fool done took my job. Oh, I can't. I'm done. You know what? I'm gonna have to eat that. And when you are loyal and faithful to this calling and this in this spirit and this energy of positivity, when you do what you know you're supposed to do, even when you make bad choices, let me tell you something. Even when you make bad choices, there's still forgiveness. And you won't be punished for those things because those things have been taken care of, you know? So I just wanted to say that. Love the movie, Tyler, Mr. Perry. I'm so sorry. I love the movie. But anyways, back to the choices. So how do you live with these regrets? In that movie, she decided that she was going to what? Go take the time, right? But for most of us, we need to move past choices because I know right now, and I'm going to switch into a little 2020 because I always like to give you a little real world relevant experience before you leave. So let's shift to 2020. So what's happening right now? And I will tell you what's happening right now. There's going to be a lot of people when the world opens back up that are going to be living with a lot of regrets. And those regrets may be anything crazy. The choice to leave home, the choice to online shop, the choice to be unproductive, the choice to be sleeping, you know, and I'm talking about on all accounts, you know, not just in the bed physically. I'm talking about sleeping. Okay. So I need you guys to really wake up. There are so many things going on in this world that you are missing out on. And even though the world is shut down a little bit, is my hair sticking up? It is a little bit, but it's okay. See, still a little deep. But anyways, so there is so much going on right now, even with the world shut down, because here's the thing, people, this may be your new reality. And I hope you know that, student, my one student tonight. I hope you know that this is partially our new reality because the world can't open up and be the same way as it is. And customer service is going to be different. Employment is going to be different. Energies are going to be different, you know, because I went out today and let me tell you something. This, I don't know if it was worth it. I mean, it was worth it because I think they're really, really cute. I love the work, but I don't think it's worth it because I encountered so much energy today and it was a lot of mean energy. Then there was a lot of humble energy. There was some thankful energy. I felt that. Over the phone when I called to try to make a nail appointment, and here's another thing. So I called to make a nail appointment. The lady was so thankful that I called in that she was like, whatever you need. And she's like, have you ever tried dip powder or whatever? And I said, no, I haven't. I think back in the day. And she's like, well, whatever you do, if you don't like it, we will fix it. I will guarantee all of the work. Just come in. And I said, is this the new world we live in? Because you know me. I mean, you don't know me, but whoever this is, you probably know me because you're loyal and you're still watching. So you know me. You know I live for good customer service, people. Like that is what moves me. I teach business. I teach customer service. Do they not understand that customer service will make or break your business? Like, the right womb, as they call it, right? Word of mouth. The right womb can kill you, especially with the internet nowadays. I mean, back in the day, you had to wait for somebody to tell somebody, but now it's like, and you're like, whoo, this how we, tell me how you really feel, right? And so they tell you how they really feel. And if you're a consumer, which all of us are, whether you're business to business, business to consumer, or even e-commerce. But what I'm saying is we're all in customer service, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, you're in customer service. You want to know why? Because without no customers to service, you would be in business, right? So that should be the front-loaded part of your business, giving these people what they are paying for. And as consumers, let me tell you something. You have been negligent. You have been negligent because you have been allowing the foolishness to come through to you. Because if you are working so hard to make your money, why are you giving it away so easily? You know, there are some basic rights to capitalism, and one of them is the right to compete and the right to choose, right? there are competitors out there for everything, because that's why there can't be a monopoly. A monopoly means one business. We know that at the end of the game, you got one winner, right? So a monopoly is one person. That's the only legalized one here in the US. Okay. So everything else is like fair game. So there are multiple competitors out there for products. There are multiple competitors out there for your business dollars daily. Okay. So what I need you guys to understand is that if you think about how much money it takes to that you're giving to these businesses, right? And that you're giving away, that you're giving to these businesses, and then you're thinking about the actual return on like what you took at work to make that money. Like you're probably working 40 hours a week or more, right? So $100, if you break it down by your hourly wage, you probably have to work about 2.5 days to get $100. Okay. So that's the average consumer household right about now, right? So you got about $100. You have to work 2 days to get that. So you go to this company and you say, excuse me, I'd like to purchase your product or service. And they say, why? I don't like your attitude. No. You know, and it's like, oh, and that's how I do it. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I was inconveniencing you by giving you my money that I went to work for to earn, so that way I can pay you. I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and choose your competitor because I have the right to choose. Okay. So we worked in a little business lecture into that too, right? So I gave you multiple lectures. But yes, you have to choose how you want to spend your money. And consumers, you're not doing that. You are not telling these people how you deserve to be treated. And when I say these people, it's because guess what, people? You are people who started a business or a project, right? You have an organization and you hired people to, you decided to go into business, right? So you hired these people to help you get to your dream, whatever. So you work for this company, you chose to go into business, you chose to be in customer service, right? Because you like customers, because you like money, right? Okay, that's what I thought. So, so now you have chosen to go into this industry, but now you want to choose to have an attitude with your consumer that is choosing to spend their dollars with you. Something about that don't add up. And last time I checked, revenue minus expense equal profit. And guess what? There is no profit. There is no revenue without consumers. So again, start thinking about your consumers. Okay. But I will say this, where I went today, they did a phenomenal job, I think, right? Kind of cute. But yes, they catered. They cared. They thought about it. They convenienced me. They were wonderful, you know, and I will go back. And I tipped even larger than I normally would. And not that's a brag thing, but that's a real thing. That's a thing, people, because I used to waitress. You learned that tonight on the episode, right? So please tip your waitresses. I know that a lot of people don't understand why, but it's because they don't have to choose that job. And I get it. They chose it. I get it. They chose it. But guess what? At the end of the day, you're also choosing to eat out and have them to be there for you. And we've kind of missed that right now, huh? So when we do come back from this, whatever this is, I suggest that we all kind of be a little bit nicer, you know, nicer to our service workers, because guess what? They're choosing still an occupation that most of us still won't choose to do. And even though right now they're choosing to get paid, not what they're worth to do it, you know, and not that money should be tied into your worth, and it's not. So please don't ever equate that to the same thing. Your value is so much deeper than a piece of paper and a contract of materials. So you have no idea. But what I will say this is that you have to really understand how to be you. You have to know how to take back control of the things in life that you need to take back control of, right? And you need to learn how to read energy, because your life should be in your control. The energy should be in your control. Your time should definitely be in your control. So I'm going to give this management tip too, because I also teach management. Remember, I'm a management professor, Miss Lady Management. Yeah. But here's the tip that I have for you. And even if you're the only one that uses it, it's really important for you to understand that going back after this shift, that you may be a manager and you may have a manager, or you may be in management positions or whatever the case may be. So there may be a time when they're going to ask you this question, and the question's going to be, well, what did you do during the pandemic for your employees? And if you don't have anything better to say than, we let them come back. Wow, you let me come back. Don't be that guy. You know, that's how I feel when I date a jerk kind of guy. I'm like, don't be that guy. Just don't be that company. You know, understand that they are coming back because they too had a choice at this moment, because unemployment is probably paying them more than you were, especially our tip workers, right? I know, $2.14 an hour. Yes, that was absurd. So I can only imagine what that equates to now. You know, what is it, $5, $6, $9? I don't know. And that's the sad part, but I should know, but it doesn't matter. I tip well, and you should tip well. And you should care more, and you should be concerned about your service workers, because they do not have to do this. So I know that everybody's like, oh my gosh, she's wrapped this whole entire thing up, but I haven't yet. So here we go. At the end of the day, you can only be you. I started with that, you know that. So make wise choices, make confident choices. Do not question your choices, because if you question them, I promise you, they're probably not the right ones. You know, I sent my friend home with homework assignment the other night, and I still don't know if he did it yet. And I'm going to find out in a minute when I'm done with this. But the homework was, here's the thing, always give yourself at least 3 options, right? 3 good, solid options. And I want you to lie in bed tonight, and I want you to run through all 3 possible options. And I want you to take your time, because if it's running through your brain this much, you're not going to sleep anyway. So you might as well take your time and do this exercise, right? And I said, I need you to run through the possible scenarios of each case. At the end of the possible scenario, what is the best possible outcome? And then he said, okay, I can do that. I said, so I want you to think of the best of all of these possible outcomes that you have. So you have 3 choices, right? And then he's like, now, and then what? I said, and then now I want you to play back the worst possible outcome for each of these choices. And he said, well, I may not like that. And I said, exactly. But I need you to think about all these options and weigh them out. And if the worst possible outcome was still a possibility and it hurts so bad, then perhaps that's not the one. You know what I mean? Because if that could happen, then that's probably not the choice you should be making, if that makes any kind of sense. But if the best possible outcome is an outcome of success, and the greatest success is still worse than the possible negative outcome, then that is your choice. And I say all that to say this, because that is just what I say. I know. But again, make wise choices. Do your homework, people. Watch the show. It's really, really good. You can watch it with your kids. You can watch it with your family. It is a really smart show. And especially tonight's episode about choices. I'm kind of proud of it. It was my little baby. But anyways, so I hope you go watch it, because you said you hadn't. So I need you to watch it, if nobody else. You know, it's got 15 views. I've watched it about 16 times. And so I guess don't even ask. They got to catch up to me, because I'm just like on repeat. But anyways, thank you all for joining me tonight. This was a very quick 30-minute lecture recap. And I know there was only one of you, and that's okay. But choose everything. You know, I remember this country song, because I have like 30 seconds, that was like, you know, if you choose to sit it out or just dance. I want you all to kind of just dance. I tell my students, live like a movie. And you know who I'm talking about, because one of my students, he really took a hold of that, and shout out to you. But yes, live like a movie. And that live like a movie is a serious thing. Don't watch it on TV. Don't read about it sometimes, but sometimes that's fun. But go live it. You know what I'm saying? Just go live it. Go have a good time. Enjoy yourself. Be you. Make smart choices. Make wise choices. Make girly choices. Make all of the right choices. Make godly choices. I love you guys, and especially you for tuning in. Thank you, and God bless. It did.